Hey there, thanks for joining us at the Rabbit Hole of Research, where you'll learn a few facts that you can impress your friends with at a party. Hey, welcome back to the Rabbit Hole of Research down here in the basement studio. As always, you have me, Joe. We've got Nick.
Georgia.
We've got Georgia. And we have a guest with us to talk about space arcs and colonizing new worlds. Roland, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, thanks for having me. So, Roland Pitts, author of Salvation Protocol. And just quick background, a former Army officer, and now I'm working in cybersecurity.
Damn.
Wow. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Man, this season is really military heavy.
Yeah. That's right.
That's awesome.
It is. No, very good. A lot of expertise, and especially on this topic, I think strategic long-term planning for everything. There was an interesting documentary with a life coach, and he was saying how he spent time with Rangers and that whole mentality of plan for every scenario. And that way, when you go into a scenario, you're not as surprised or caught off guard. And it was this life skill for anxiety that if you over-plan when you get in, then you'll be quick on your feet to pivot to the next.
So that's just living with anxiety.
I was going to say, so this.
That's how you.
I was going to say this is like the pros of having anxiety and thinking of every possible scenario.
I'm never surprised.
Constructively, though. Constructively, not deconstructively.
It could be both. Constructively, deconstructive.
Or you could just have a copy of your what is it?
Country wisdom.
Yes, your country wisdom.
You gotta have country wisdom. You should have both. Keep that there.
You should have anxiety and country wisdom. Got it.
Anxiety that you help get.
And then you can think of all the ways you might not be able to get to your country wisdom book. Oh no!
And for those that don't know, country wisdom, it's a survivalist Bible in some ways, and so it has all these kind of just wisdoms about how to do animal husbandry, or how to start a farm, or how to till grounds, or
animal what?
Husbandry.
Oh,
you don't know that term?
Are you trying to wed some animals over there?
Yeah, that's exactly.
As an animal husband.
Yes.
That'll be a different episode. Okay.
All right, let's get into this. As always, I have a little grounding monologue that I've put together. And of course, I have lists.
Please enlighten us.
Yep. So we crossed ice bridges into unknown continents. We built boats before we understood the ocean. We looked up at the moon and decided it wasn't beyond reach. But every migration before now had one thing in common: somewhere to return to. A space arc is different. It's a bottle cast into the vacuum of space with an unknown home, carrying everything we are and hope for what we might become. It's a womb hurling through the dark, gestating either our salvation or our extinction. The engineering alone is staggering. Cryo-sleep chambers, closed ecosystems running for generations, propulsion into the unknown, genetic diversity by design, and threats we can't yet imagine. But the real challenge isn't biology or physics. It could just be us. Can humanity survive the journey through the stars to a new home, or will we become something else entirely by the time we arrive? So that's...
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, thank you.
Do you have a list as well?
I do.
Or is Roland going to take the list?
So I'm going to introduce the list. I'm going to give a list, and then I'm going to have Roland who did.
There's lots of lists.
In his book, Salvation Protocol, and we can talk a little bit about that. Essentially, it's Earth has been told by aliens. Roland, you want to give the synopsis of your own book. I don't want to mansplain your book here. I don't want to host-plain your book, so you're right here.
Yeah, no problem. So keep it short. It's a sci-fi thriller, and it's when these 5 godlike aliens, they come to Earth and they tell us that there's hostile forces coming. And so they secretly choose one human being, our protagonist, Eli Evans, to select 1,000 people and 1,000 items to go and restart civilization on a new world. And so the novel explores really like morality, survival, and the cost of, being chosen. And at the same time, the world leaders, the government leaders, are trying to figure out who this person is, this guy who's going around selecting folks, because his identity is hidden. And so he has 1 year to do this before the Ark departs, and they arrive on a new planet, Meraxel.
Wow.
Very good, yeah. So, and Roland and I, we met at Dragon Con. So was at Dragon Con last
Which,
summer.
tell us what Dragon Con is.
Dragon Con is a large sci-fi fantasy convention in the heart of Atlanta, downtown. It's 5 days of just nonstop fun and excitement, nerdom, all the above. And Roland, he came up, did a panel, and then Roland introduced himself in his book, and then he had listened to the podcast, I presumed, and he said, "Oh, I think you'd really be interested in the lists in the back of the book." And so I'm like, "Yeah, I love lists."
You spoke, that's like Joe's love language.
And when I got back, we're like, "How was the trip, Georgia and Nick?" They're like, "Oh, how was it? We got to talk about in the episode or something." I'm like, "Yeah." And then I met this guy, and he has this list in the back of the book. You got to look, here's the list. And so I'm like, I got the list all thumbnailed. But yeah, so, and the list was all about what you would need, the cargo manifesto of the item selected to actually make this journey and restart humanity. And I came up with 10, looking at your list, thinking of some things, 10 things that you could summarize this list and the things that are in there. So I'll give this list of 10 things. You can add, subtract, tell me I'm wrong about my list or something I missed.
You can actually boo them as well.
You can
That's
boo me,
always
yes.
fun.
So I just had foundational biological assets. So genetic diversity plan, human microbial plant, animal, seed banks, that type of thing, pathogen detection, ecosystems and life support architecture, closed loop systems, water, air, waste, backup life support, AI controlled environment regulation, soil substrates, propulsion, navigating, vessel integrity. You got a long duration solution, autonomous course correction, hull materials for micrometeoroid and radiation shielding. I've got the colony infrastructure blueprint, what the habitat model is going to look like, manufacturing, 3D printers, feedstock, emergency grid for the colony, terraforming or geoengineering kits and things like that to make the new world human-friendly, governance, culture, social stability, charter, a constitutional framework, conflict mediation, justice, law, education systems for multi-generational crews, recreation, knowledge data systems, redundant knowledge archives, adaptive AI for maintenance, communication systems with Earth or other space arcs that are there. I've got medical, genetic safeguards. We got to have a full spectrum medical facility, genetic health monitoring, cryostasis capabilities, pandemic containment, security risk, radiation protection, fire, hull breach plans, mutiny, insurrection prevention, supply redundancy, scientific exploration toolkits. Once you get there, to understand your environment, geological, atmospheric, biological toolkits, robot scouts, environmental modeling. And then I got ethics, the rights of future generations, cultural drift management, what counts as success, and protocols for encountering alien life. So those are if I was tasked, I got called up.
That's pretty extensive.
I feel like you just need the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and you'll be good.
Just a towel and don't worry, right?
Well, yeah. And
Is the towel in there? Like,
I don't.
I think my list would just be, okay, what books and what movies, and a DVD player.
How's the Wi-Fi up there? Is it good?
But I'm a little concerned you're taking AI with you. I want to get away from AI.
Yeah, I think, for all the issues with AI and that people have, especially on the creative side, but I think as a tool, you could use AI in a lot of ways because probably people will be asleep. So that cryostasis for some length of the journey, and there has to be some entity, mother or axiom. If we think of movies, alien is mother.
I don't know if I trust
axiom
mother
is,
enough.
Yeah, right.
Wally.
So Roland, how did you feel about this list? Is that pretty similar to your list, or?
Yeah, so the list is pretty good. And I would say that when I was thinking of the planet, probably the first thing is, okay, is this place going to be sustainable for human life? And what we find out very early on is that this planet, it truly is. In fact, the gravity is lighter. The oxygen intake inside the planet is a little bit higher. So, and the water there is all potable. So that when we get there, we don't have to worry about the basic necessities of living. In fact, there's even an ecosystem where the dominant predators for the game only stay, the top of the food chain for no more than 2 decades. So this information is provided to the humans. And so at this point, it's, okay, we can live there. What do we take to start? So it's going back. I really tried to figure out how can we take the comforts of our life, but not be so technologically advanced. So if we have a power grid, we don't have electricity. All right. Do we need electricity to survive? Maybe not. So I would say it was really good. So the first thing I did was, how do we survive year one? And a lot of research into this. And without going too deep into it, what I researched was how long were humans living up until 100 years ago, then 200, then 300. And what I found was it's really those microbacteria that was killing us as a civilization. So like the invention of penicillin, things like that, sanitation. So if we were able to solve those problems, okay, now we're living, that's fine. All right, what about sustaining? So I think you mentioned like the seed vault. That it was great. It's right on par with what I had. And then just very basic things. We need carpenters. We need brick and mortars. We need some type of...
Each individual seed isn't going to count as an item that you're bringing, correct?
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
So
I'd be like, oh,
a pound of wheat seed.
Right,
that's not...
I thought you were like, a pound of weed. That's all good, right? Then.
Yeah, so there's the things that you take, and then this person is tasked with figuring out the minds, the people that you take. Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, I think that's... Go ahead. Yeah. I was going to say that's where I think the AI in knowledge holding... I don't know how many of each expert class you're bringing with, I think, 1,000 people, you said. So you're going to be tight. So if you lose the domain knowledge expert, you will need something that can interact.
Yeah, but then you can't trust the AI. They're going to just make up shit.
Hopefully you can... Potentially you can cross-reference things with other knowledge base, but on the fly, trying to do an appendectomy. I talk about this in the context of The Stand, Stephen King's novel about an apocalyptic event which wipes out 98% of humanity. So everything is here to use, but domain knowledge has now become the commodity. And so in that story, there was no AI, there was no informational gathering, there wasn't even Google. This was set in the late 80s. So you have this situation where you're thrown back and now you have people, there's all the technology there, all the infrastructure, but very few who know how to use the pieces of that infrastructure. And so something like having an advanced computer system, maybe not as far as AI, a generative AI system, but one that can curate through information and give you relevant resources and text. That would, I think, really, you would need that at some level. I would advocate you should have that on there to go with you. So I don't know if you thought about that, or is that?
Yeah, I think you both are spot on. So each of the humans selected, they have this AI inside them. It's called a BIPA. And essentially it's think and talk to them. And so there is some sort of artificial intelligence that regulates their body, might tell them a little bit about the environment, but we will need people with those hard skills. And, to your point, something as simple as a cavity. If you have a cavity and it does not get treated, that used to kill us hundreds of years ago. But part of the people we take is we have to have a dentist, someone with those fine motor skills that knows what they're looking at, how to remove it. And when you break up 1,000 people, medical was about a quarter of all those folks, because you need someone like that. And then not only do you need it for that time, how do we maintain that skill set? So there has to be some training program in there, whether it's written down or a practice dummy or something like that. And so I think you're both accurate in those assessments.
Yeah. And some of the new training, I was at my alma mater, Penn State Barron, and they had their nursing program. They had the virtual medical tables for training. You input in different scenarios of the body, and then you can go through and pull it apart. The musculature, the skeleture, you can have different scenarios, different medical conditions. And so you get that training there. And once again, using your technology.
I still want to play the devil's advocate against this high-tech thing, because the movie that keeps coming to mind is WALL-E.
Yes.
And think about it. In WALL-E, they kind of let the technology and the computer take over, and then they just became these fat slobs that couldn't even walk anymore. Because then
they were alive.
They were alive.
They were alive,
didn't kill them.
But like, what sliver of humanity was left? They didn't even use their own brains hardly. I don't know. I just feel like that might be relying just too much on the technology.
You always have I mean, I brought up Mother and Alien, right? Its mission was to get a weapon, right? That was its overline. It was like keep the humans okay, but at this other level, the prime directives are what's set, and that seems like the aliens who have come, they're setting the prime directive at some level, and then they've entrusted us with someone to lead this mission to actually curate all of these things and the AI.
And they picked a human to figure it out.
Right. So, but AI, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the AI in this novel is semiotic with the human. So it's not its own entity. It has to, if the human dies, then it dies. So they want to live. And so it's with the human. And yeah, they choose a human to kind of do this and lead this more so because of that reason.
I do feel like there's a rather hard sell on getting someone to join the ship, the Ark.
Yeah.
Because, like people have families and stuff.
Right,
and
right.
being like, yeah, you can come, but
Yeah, your family can't.
your family, they got to stay, man. They got 1,000 people and you're one. Like, is that something that you end up having to deal with, the whole picking and choosing?
Yes. So that was something I definitely wrote about. And for some people, it was a choice of, well, this alien race is coming and you guys are going to face immediate death or enslavement by this species. So what our main character does, and I drew this a lot from my military experience, was our main character doesn't know everything. He doesn't know medical, he doesn't know STEM, he doesn't know philosophy. So he finds people who are the experts. And because they're the experts, that expert has their crew of people who they know would say yes. So what Eli does is kind of push out of his hands and gives it to those individual experts. And he leans on them to try to find those who, one, will be willing to do this, and then two, are okay with bringing their family or not family. So it could be a hard sell, but there are some people out there, like our one guy named Hero, a medical person, who his ambition is so high to try to just be that person that he's willing to leave his family. And it's a hard ask, but I guess in the name of science for him.
Yeah, and I mean, is that if you have those people who are just, let's do it, let's go, and ignoring their family, are they mentally correct for the mission, or how is that balance, right? Because you got people, like you're saying, this hero character sounds like one that's just, I'm going to go and I'm abandon everything else. But now, when will I cross the line later? Who will they abandon to get some other thing on this planet? Maybe there's some cool thing they want to go explore, but maybe they shouldn't. You know what I mean? The temperament of the individual, it seems like it might be at conflict between I'm ready to risk everything versus let me chew on it for however long till the day before I got aboard, right? I think that's interesting.
I added another layer of complexity to it. And the additional layer I said was, okay, if you find somebody who wants to go and you ask them and they say no, well, because that person may go off and tell their friend, hey, Roland just asked me to come to this Ark. It puts the entire mission at jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the directive then is, if you say no, then you have to be killed because we can't risk it. And the way they're killed is that...
That really makes a difference.
Yeah, so it's very strategic of who you ask.
But now it feels like you would have some reluctant yeses.
And the morale is just shot, for a lack of better words. It's just...
It is. And I think about the astronauts, right? So when an astronaut goes to space, they know that they're leaving and the chance that they won't come back. And it's the final frontier, it's exploration. And that ambition might overweigh some of the familiar highs they have. That's just some way I thought about it.
But the astronauts, even though there's a probability that's higher for them to meet a catastrophic end, there's also a high probability that they'll come back and see their loved ones and their family. Going off on an Ark mission is different. It's like if you think about colonizing Mars, the people that go there first, they're probably going to leave behind a lot of their family, and they might not return. It might be a one-way ticket. They go there, you're going to have to set everything up. You're going to be there for a decade.
I don't think it's a might. I think it's a you're not coming back. Yeah. You're there.
Yeah. Well, at some point they might be able to do a return flight, right? So that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying maybe a decade, maybe 2. So you'll be older. Go there when you're 20. Maybe you can come back to Earth when you're 40. But now your physiology is. So yeah.
And people are dead.
I agree. Nick is probably right that it's a one-way ticket. You go there, but those people that go, I mean, it's a sacrifice.
And then you have to think about someone that's really driven, like maybe science or whatever they're really driven by. They might totally ignore their family for 10 years. So, what I mean? It could be very similar to just leaving,
I didn't like them anyways. I'm just going to dip out now. Thank you.
The other thing I had thought about, and because I am a biologist, is the number of people it would really that you had a chance to make this all work. And 1,000, I feel like right on the line. Like that was a choice, I take it, or did you? Right, because that's right. And you got to think you got to do a bunch of stuff too. Like you got everyone has to make it, but then I think just the kind of doing some genetic tooling with CRISPR or things like that to actually make sure that the genetic population doesn't begin to inbreed. So part of the problem, the population starts to inbreed generationally. You then have alleles that can amplify recessive traits, which will lead to bad outcomes. We can think of the royal family in England and hemophilia. And so because there was a high level of inbreeding, they became very susceptible to having hemophilia and bleeding out. And so that's a very famous case. But here, when you have a small population, the same thing. So was there genetic screening pre or post?
Yeah, this was probably the hardest part of the book, was talking to experts. So I have friends who are biologists as well. And I asked them, like, hey, look, if this was going to happen, what is the minimum number of people? And she was like, it has to be at least 1,000 different people with different backgrounds. Because if not, one, I don't know, the flu, whatever it is,
that's right.
might wipe out the entire population. So they go there, and what happens in the cryopods is a little bit of I know your favorite word, hand wavedium. some hand wavedium happens to where any type of negative recessive traits, whatever they have, any type of defects that human has, in the cryopod, it gets taken out. So now they arrive on the planet full of health. Very healthy.
Does it matter their age? So like, say Joe is 70 years old right now. Are we going to take him, or are we going to take the next best person?
Yeah.
So that goes back to the conduit. And I would say that that person who chooses his followers.
Yeah.
But then you still kill him, right?
Like, that takes,
but you also want somebody that has experience and knowledge, and that's probably somebody that may be older.
But you also
then, like, once they get there, like having them procreate, that's one less person that can do it.
Well,
and if he can,
Nick, I was going to say, you could have it where it's a double strike if it's a 7-year-old woman, because a 7-year-old woman definitely cannot procreate. A 7-year-old man can actually still procreate. We got a bunch of famous actors who have done it. They have kids. So you actually now have a different situation, because women who are over, have gone through menopause, they are now become a liability at some level, right? Even though they're very experienced. Not to, the third.
Look on George
generating.
She's about to throw something at you, Joe.
It's a good thing we don't have video now. I'm just saying that it becomes almost a double strike there, because I'm sure that the expertise and especially diversity you need could lie in these women who have that experience and that domain knowledge, and part of some team. I'm picking my team of people. I'm now at a point in my career where everyone else in my window are about my age and I trust and would take on a mission like this. So that is something, and that you could become problematic.
It's definitely a challenge, right? To try to figure out who and what to take. And I think that's what makes it interesting, is how these conduits choose their followers. And they all have their different ways of doing it. But the age thing is definitely consideration. And so I focused on, okay, how do we survive that first year? If we can't make it past year 1, then we're done here. So I think Eli, when he's talking to his conduits, it's like, year 1, get past that, we can figure out the rest of it. And to George's point, like, you got to have some experience. We need someone who can look at someone and say, hey, I think this flower that we're stepping on is causing problems because of my decades of experience. It can't be a bunch of 20-year-olds, which why the main character is 35. So, everyone is older, at least
Closer
old
to my
enough to, they're old enough to handle the responsibility and mature enough to know that this is probably the right or wrong decision to make.
And you need someone to go ahead and lick the plant to make sure that it's not poisonous,
do not
right?
lick the plants. Do not. Well, I think another hand wavy, especially where we're at now, would be to take embryos and just have this kind of model then. So maybe that's the way, so I'm trying to fix the problem that maybe we've created, is to take out age a little bit, and you could have embryos there. Or, even more hand wavium is artificial wombs, where now you have gestation pods or whatever there.
You're separating the people you need to create this society or whatever away from the procreation.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep. And diversity, right? Because now you can have a much more diverse class of embryo class, right? So this is the next question. If one seed doesn't count, how many embryos can we take? Can we pack up in there? And
how many Big Macs?
How many Big Macs?
So you actually have to have a chef on board too.
That's right. You got to get the Big Mac secret recipe.
I know a lot of people downgrade the chefs, but
chefs
you
are
need to take a
important.
chef, or else you're going to be eating nothing good.
You said medical was 250. You said a quarter, so I was like 250 folks are in the medical side, and then does that include scientists, geneticists? Like, is that in the medical, or is now you fill out, and then where does
so you're just
teachers,
asking
artists,
about scientists? Yeah. Basically,
I am. Yeah, how many scientists are you taking on your arc? Because I need to know where I'm at. So No,
yeah,
I was kind of moving through your numbers there because I want to touch on the cultural stuff. How many artists? How many librarians? How many? Right. So is that a quarter also, or are you like? Did you really? You got 50.
Those got downgraded.
Right?
We got 10.
We only need a couple poets.
Or chefs,
Come on.
right? So how many chefs went
You
along?
better be
that,
multitasker.
Yeah. So it's because you're gonna. Like most of us, we will top heavy into sciences, the hard sciences. But, what happens with the kind of cultural historians who teaches history and things like that, and the diversity of history?
Yeah. So, I think we're talking about the quote unquote soft sciences, if we say are artists, right? Mm-hmm. Which I took 50. Mm-hmm. And I said between these 50, I think that should be enough. And then another 50 was our philosophers, lawmakers, the social sciences. Mm-hmm. And I only kept to that number because the largest part of folks we need is going to be what I call practical knowledge. So these are our construction workers, our plumbers, our builders, overall blue collar.
Farmers.
This includes
right.
Yeah, farmers, hunters. Mm-hmm. So these people are outdoorsmen, so to speak. So they can take, fish and they know how to hunt. And that's what's going to feed us, really. And then the second largest was our science. It was the medical, but then I also put STEM in there, kept it very broad. Engineers,
right?
So to speak.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. To be able to, So those were the two biggest ones. Was practical knowledge.
It was interesting because I think of World War Z.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like
where after that you needed.
The people that mattered were the people that had these practical
skills
and the trades, and the celebrities were just like, "Oh, we don't need you anymore."
You got downgraded, right? Because I can imagine probably not many A-list stars will be on the Ark. But probably right.
Whoa!
But
isn't Gordon Ramsay an A-list star? Like he could probably
but he's a chef.
Yeah,
he's a chef.
So
right.
if you're an A-list star because of something like that,
I think you would get the chef like what's the lady who works at the barn? She's like works on a farm.
Are you talking about a butcher?
Show? No, she has a cooking show, and she works on a farm.
The pioneer woman.
Pioneer woman, right? So you grab the pioneer woman. Now you got someone with a dual skill set, right? So
I don't know.
They can cook.
Dual wielding those skills.
They can cook. They can butcher the hogs, and move along.
I mean, most chefs, I think, if you're high rank enough, you know how to do that. Like, pretty sure if you get Gordon to go do it, we'll ask him next time he's on the show.
How old is Gordon Ramsay? He might not make the age threshold.
I think he's like,
but we're not worried about that.
And one interesting thing, if we're going to this whole hand wavium, the whole thing. I mean, in the cryopod, then you could have where you do telomere regeneration, things like that. So someone who are older. That's why I brought the male female thing, because an older man, maybe you can genetically force them back.
But
to some
don't they
use,
say that? They used to say that a lot of the genetic disorders and things from having children older, they always put that blame on women, but then they figured out that a lot of it comes from the men.
It's both, right? Because I think it was women, because one of the things that's interesting and fascinating is that when a woman is born, they technically have all of their eggs there. And so as their life goes on, any stressors affects their eggs created at birth, whereas men, it regenerates. Every cycle, you get a new batch of sperm made from a group of stem cells that do that. And so that was the thought, was that, well, it must be women because they have these eggs for so long, and men, they get a new
women
turnover.
Always get blamed.
But the thing they find out is that men, as they age, their genetic, kind of have genetic issues also. And your age, the same thing, can affect the cells that make the sperm. And so if you introduce a genetic defect there, then now you have this kind of propagated. And so you can start getting these other kind of deficiencies and defects as men age. And
they get all skunked out and everything. And
the bits get old, so no, reproductive biology is not my area, but it is fascinating.
It is. So Roland, how did you come up with this idea or this inspiration for your book?
Yeah, so I had like a similar idea, I would say, for many years. And it started off with if there is a life out there, and if life came and it told us that, how we'll react to it. And it wasn't so much more so like, oh, this is really cool. It's how will we actually react to this? Mm-hmm. How would the world really see it? And from there, it just kind of started spiraling. And I said, okay, well, if we had to leave the planet. So back in my military days, if we had to go out to the field for 30 days, you would think about the stuff you would take because you're not coming back. Mm-hmm. And so it just morphs from that to just a larger scale. And I said, okay, well, what's the bare minimum I need? If I had to stay out here forever, how would I actually do it? And it just kind of started to unravel more and more. So that's really how the idea came out. And I talked to my brother about it, and I wrote my first sentence, and then I just kept writing. So,
nice.
I was going to say, it reminded me a little bit of When Worlds Collide. So the 1951 classic movie. And so there's Earth is going to be destroyed. And so there's aliens, they figure out, these scientists, they select folks to go onto an ark, an interstellar ark, and do that. So very interesting. And in this whole look, the one thing that was interesting is that the earliest quote unquote ark stories were flood myths and flood based, in the Mesopotamian flood myths, the 18th, 17th century BCE, some of the earliest stories talking about. And I thought it was interesting because at that point in time, the exploration of the world, the known world, was very small compared to the whole earth now we have. And so setting voyage in a flood or in the ocean with everything you have is probably the same equivalency to us now boarding an interstellar starship and trying to go somewhere else.
Like pirates with scurvy and stuff, right? Like something
you could get scurvy. That's
like,
right.
Can you get scurvy on the ship, or is that the pod that takes care of that?
I think the pod takes care of that one.
Damn, I was really looking forward to getting some scurvy.
You just take lots of oranges.
Vitamin C. Vitamin C deficiency is scurvy. So that's it. Rickets is vitamin D. So cave miners would get rickets.
Scurvy and rickets.
Yeah, scurvy and rickets. You get them both.
Ooh, fun.
But yeah, the flood, and of course Noah's Ark, probably the most famous of the flood kind of narratives. But that's where we started, and you get that same idea. What do you load on there? What do you take? What do you save? What part of humanity do you save or
take? I think it's just a really good thought process to go over that for yourself. You know what I mean? Like the whole deserted, deserted island question. Like if you're on a deserted island, what 10 things would I just think it's a good way to think about what
song would you want that you'll play over and over? No.
Is this a song that never...
You can get one record, to take with you.
I feel like there's so much like mind juggling for choosing people that it's so hard to wrap my head around being like, oh yeah, for me, choosing people would be a lot more difficult, but like having to look through it as an actual, like, we're restarting humanity here. We have to do this. It's like, Yeah, it's just the mind loops jumping through there. Absolutely
Yeah.
baffles me, man. I love it.
Yeah, and what makes it interesting too is that our main character is just this guy, so he gets some guidance from the Sentinels of who he should try to recruit. Like this world class artist, but how does he get there? How does he pitch her? How does these are things he has to try to figure out, and so he'll try to figure out some surveillance, seeing like what they like, try to get them one-on-one, and just kind of watching. So from day one, when he's told this happens over the course of a year, and as this time comes closer, where the world knows that these people are being selected, you start to see that some people volunteer, and he's trying to make contact with these people, but keep his identity hidden. And that puts in another layer of essentially like espionage, you want to say, as well as, how do I get to their why as to why they want to do this, and then avoiding assassins. So it's as much of a, just desert island, 10 items, as well as an experiment as to understanding the human psyche and just dealing with just that immense stress that you're potentially condemning all these other people who don't go to death, but it's for the greater good. And so he goes through a lot of emotional turmoil. So it was fun.
Is there anything that they do to avoid having a class system on the Ark or once they get there? Or
yeah, so that was part of the reason why we chose the philosophers and the social science. And I named them as like our social science. And so those 50 people, that's what they're due to try and maintain that ethical morality that we've established. If we go out to a new planet, how do we not create, a class system? It'd be very challenging for a former neurosurgeon to look at, a painter or a construction worker and not feel like he's better than he is or whatever. So that's more of like the second novel. Yeah. I haven't really go into that too much this one.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah. No, it's interesting. I mean, I think, right, the class is not only who's better, because I think once you get into the Ark and you're hurling through space and you come to this new planet, you might reset your importance, right? Because a
like we were
surgeon,
talking about,
right,
people that
right,
have these practical skills
right,
then become more revered,
But I was going to say, like, even you have these 50 philosophers there, right? We all hold our own philosophical beliefs. And is there some rule that you must cede to X and Y, people because they were selected to do this type of thing? Or is it, no, I think, right?
Well, I think you all have free will and
right,
you all have your own
that leads to you fracturing
things.
your 1,000, which then means that now you're even
But I
genetically
think no
fragile.
Matter,
right?
I think no matter how much you try to make it so there's not classes and there's not that, I think it's just human nature. People will make classes.
You don't have you don't really have a scarcity economy. Well, yes and no, but when you go to this new planet, you're not really bound. Like, your resources are shared, and it sounds like the planet's been set up, which is a very smart, because you get away from terraforming and things like that. But the planet's already set up to accommodate human life. So you have this pristine environment. I imagine that the waters will be seeded with fish or things like that, so that you would have this. So scarcity. So initially, year one, you won't have a scarcity-based kind of economic system. So classes really wouldn't interfere with that. I think it would be year 10, 20 that now you're rolling, that now, to grease the wheels, the friction of society, you need to have some exchange of trade, exchange of materials or ideas. And that might be where you start to get more of this, might get more of these issues then, that you would need this kind of philosophical or historical basis. Like, here's what's happened. Here's what happened on Earth when we tried this, right? Because I think it would be a lot of that. Like, here's what happened. Almost, it would fall into myth and lore. Like, here's what happened in mid 19th century, and it didn't work out so well, so we shouldn't try it.
Yeah. Something else that I considered is maintaining law and order. So when you have these people on that planet, I'm assuming that everyone's going to be a good human being. But if they're not, if someone does something wrong, well, each one of those 1,000 people were hand selected. So we can't just kick him out of society because there's only so many of us, and every job, every life is very important. So how do we handle that, right? And that's like book 2 stuff, but I would say that I reviewed like Scarlet Letter, and I thought it was very interesting how society dealt with someone who did something wrong. They didn't kick her out, right? But there was a way to impose some type of justice system. And we'll kind of figure that out when that book comes out. But what you guys are talking about, it's exactly the point. When the resources aren't scarce, how do we fall back to our normal ways? And that normal way could be simply, hey, I am a fisherman and I'm working every single day, and you're a dentist and you just sit in the shade, but yet you eat just like I eat, you're not doing anything. So those conflicts could arise.
But I think that the dentist would be working, doing something in the field, right? And then it'll be like, oh, hey, you need to stop raising the barn and go over and do an extraction. So I think there would be some, especially those early years, I think it'd be all hands on deck. I just don't see anyone chilling. Or the conflict year 1 will derail real fast if people did go. They reverted back to, you know what? Hey, I don't do that kind of thing. And
see, my hands are what I used to work with things.
That's right. Yeah.
If I injure these, how am I supposed to take that tooth out of your face? It might be a different tooth. That's right. No, sorry.
This gets to George's point. Maybe her issue there is that while you're in these cryo chambers, will there be any personality modifications or things like that could happen? So the AI directive is, well, we realize Nick's a loose cannon. We love him. We love his knowledge. We need him. But he's got some tendencies. Can we start to edit out, right? I mean, if we're just playing this out, kind of Gattaca style, that we're going to now just modify humans, or Brave New World. That was the idea there. They're going to recreate just on Earth, but using genetics and classing. So is that a thought, or are there safeguards, or?
Well, you need to read the book, Joe.
There's a little safeguards in there.
I'm just teasing.
Jeez Louise.
I don't want to.
Still got to spoil it, but yeah, no, we can. At a high level, like, what, is that?
I'm just teasing.
Yeah, so each of the followers, or I guess each of the selected persons, they get a BIPA, just that little AI thing that connects to their nervous system. And the moment they ingest it, so it's like a little rice, they eat it, that AI scans that person, and it does an assessment of them. And if that BIPA realizes that this person would be, conducive to them, or I guess would be a bad pick to the environment, maybe has some character issues or anything like that, then it's set to just kill that human immediately. Or if they believe that they're going to tell that they have this machine inside them, or tell others. So that BIPA, it does its assessment. Although it's symbiotic, its prime directive is get humans to the planet and make sure the humans survive. So there's that kind of failsafe there of us selecting the wrong person.
Right. Interesting.
Right. It's really more
almost
black
like
and white.
Minority Report style here.
Yeah.
So, well, okay.
So you are planning on a second book already? Yeah. Is that what I've gathered?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that one's a little more challenging. So no spoilers away, but it will really dive into people and how we form little groups and things like that, how cults get formed and how Eli manages all that. Yep. So very work in progress.
Almost like the game shows, Squid Games game show, or Mr. Beast had his show where you have 100 people, a pot of money, and then they have to form their little teams and they're cooperate.
It's high school.
It's high school.
It might even be kindergarten.
Yeah. I mean, the stakes here are a little higher. It's like, there's a pile of cash, but here it's like you gotta,
high school. You have to make it through it. It's a whole thing.
There's a lot of navigating.
So one other question I had is, are there any other intelligent life forms on the new planet? And
I don't want to answer that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
since
this, without answering, or you can if you don't if you want to, but do we end up finding out like that the aliens that brought them to this planet eradicated the original life forms? You can say pass.
Like
you don't have to.
I would say
don't
that,
answer.
Yeah, I would say that when they arrive to the planet, that everything is benevolent. And as they're trying to figure out how to survive, there are these injects that happen, and they deal with those injects. And so I hope that helps. This is all book 2 stuff, so
I'm
we're
so
not there yet
sorry.
completely.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm
okay.
so
It's okay.
sorry. I'm
book
like,
2, yeah. So is book
it's a
1
journey.
in with them? That's, I mean,
Well, don't talk about how
Okay,
it
I'm like-
is. Come on.
I
We have to
imagine they
finish the-
live, right?
Okay,
He's writing a second
okay.
book.
No,
Yeah.
they
Right,
actually
yeah.
died on impact.
There's a second one.
Yeah,
so.
book 1 ends. They're on the
Yeah,
planet.
yes.
That's not really a spoiler, right? That's,
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
They're on
That's
the
good.
planet.
It's a happy ending there, all right? Yeah, George is like,
Yeah.
he's not writing a
Well-
horror. He's not writing a horror piece there. No, I was going to say, because that gets in, Nick, I think, to colonialism and kind of the idea
Right,
that as you
right.
arrive someplace, you're now imparting
And
your
now
will,
you're
your
trying
culture.
to kind of take over.
You take over the place.
Manifest destiny.
So if
Yes.
it's been sterilized, and that adds it takes that out the way, but it adds a different, some guilt factor when you figure out not only did you abandon all of your fellow humans to now probably have died because of the journey length, but now to create this planet, it was also
Right.
there's a lot of
So-
blood on your hands, and I can imagine. Hopefully, you have some therapists in your group. So
therapists. There's therapists in the social
Very
side of
busy.
it.
A very busy.
now they might be busy. They
therapist.
might be like, you know what? I can't help with the field work because I am.
Yeah,
I
that's
am
when we throw to
so
our
busy.
sponsor, BetterHelp.
So Joe and I are watching this new show,
Pluribus, yeah.
I think, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's an Apple show. That show, the aliens, they come and take over Earth, and they're all like one big hive mind. But it's really interesting because it's not just one hive mind. It's like all the individual memories and people are still intact, but all together. It's
Yeah.
just like fascinating. It's really like,
So I haven't watched it yet.
They're and their
And this
mission
is-
is to make everyone like them, bring them into the collective, and make
Yeah.
them happy. Like so. in
right?
the-
Well, no,
yeah.
we don't want to say too much.
That's like the first
Okay, I know,
episode.
but-
in the description.
This does sound like a Rick and Morty episode. Does that sound right to you
Maybe,
guys?
maybe that was what
Oh,
inspired
maybe
it.
it sounds like the thing
But-
without the horror.
But I think
Which
it
is what, like,
But I think it is interesting to step back and think about these aliens before they came to Earth and did this takeover. Like, what was that thought
Thinking,
process
yeah.
and like coming? And I think it's well done. It's interesting.
The other one like that, and it's reverse, is a 3-body problem. If you
Oh,
look
yeah,
at that,
that's
and
right.
you have that where
Yeah.
you have, not to spoil it, but here on Earth, it's almost like an alien terraforming. They're coming to. It's done well, but it's almost a reverse arc. So people are coming to Earth, and that's been done. Other stories where they want to terraform, they want to take over, and they come to Earth. They're bringing all their stuff to us, all their baggage here, but we're still a sentient organism. That's the next point. Like who's on a planet, who's there?
well,
who's
yeah, and
hanging
then
out.
I don't know if you have any archaeologists on your
Mm-hmm.
arc, but like, are they going to end up finding stuff and then being like, we aren't the only ones that have lived here?
Yeah, right. Well, that's where the
I
AI.
imagine Dwayne the Rock
Yeah.
Johnson as that character. There's other people here.
Are they archaeologists on board?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rock.
Sorry, Rob. Yeah. There's other roles for you, though.
Yeah, no. I was going to say, then also, like, with the cultural bit, I thought of one of the other stories I thought of was Matched by Ali Condi.
And you only could have 100.
The 100, yeah. And so they picked the society limits, and you only get exposed to information they chose the 100 best poems, songs, paintings from history, and everything else was destroyed, essentially. So the question is, on your journey, I mean, because a lot of this can be, how is that preserved? The human stuff that we've generated, because we've generated a lot of things over the millennia. So how was that preserved? Or
Yeah, so that took me a little bit to think about as well. And so I decided to choose, not only our 50 philosophers and these can also be religious leaders as well, but artifacts. So some of those artifacts, they tell a story, because you're right, like 50 years on Miraxel won't have the same impact of, let's say, I don't know, Anne Frank's letter. right? So by having a replica of that, we can still tell a story about morality and, you know, where we were as a society, how we've moved past that. And so those artifacts were kind of preserved in a sense, along with the human storytelling of these historians. And so that's kind of what I wanted to have in there to remind us of who we are, because if there is something or people living on the planet, it's probably wrong for us to just, you know, enslave them. And I like to think of Brandon Sanderson's novel Way of Kings and like the Parshendi and how they just kind of enslave those folks. And I thought about that while I was reading. So it's a bit of inspiration from his novels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something that interests is what if everyone just had their minds wiped and to just maintain their domain knowledge and kind of went in clean.
Oh, you're
So it's
thinking
clean.
servants.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Severance?
Severance.
So you just
Yeah.
go through, right, where you just in there and
Did you watch that yet?
No.
the AI would maintain knowledge of human history, and they would then go, so year ones through whatever, they would not have domain knowledge of Earth as what they left behind, the people, everything, the mental scarring of that. And then at some point they would, you know, open the vault. Oh, if the AI wants them, right? This is George's point, more sinister. Maybe things are going so well, let's keep everyone ignorant to the follies of humans on Earth. But yeah, that's, I mean, you could just have okay, you show up, all I do is build, you know, structures. You know, all I do is pull teeth. All I do is think about, you know, ways we can have a beautiful society. You know what I mean? Like you could have this whole history kind of wiped and then move forward.
Well,
or just set up a whole bunch of other issues.
Well,
And
people are trying to wipe out history. So
well, right.
Yeah, that is it's an interesting idea, a very interesting concept. You know, if someone's just overwhelmed with just the stress of being there and their memories, that they can just say, hey, wipe me clean.
Yep.
well,
It's like a focus on task.
Eternal Sunshine.
Oh, Spotless Mind, right?
I mean,
that's
yeah.
one. Yeah. They did
That
one
also
there.
touches onto Alien Earth, which I think we were talking about pre-recording, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if
we weren't.
that was
And
in
was
the
seen
recording or
Alien
not.
Earth, yeah. Yep.
But yes, that is
Yep.
something that they touch
Interesting.
on.
Yeah.
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 Which you still have to.
You're still bringing, I know you had mentioned you wanted to get away from technology. So they're here on this new planet and you want them to go back, which is easier to build up society. It's probably easier to take technology, high technology out and start low. But you will have this Ark ship just full of technology, right? I mean, they get there. So I think the curious individual will go, you know what? Why are we using a windmill? Why can't we just tap into the nuclear propulsion system and power up and get our projector and our IMAX theater built? And what are we spending time? You know, so you have this. You would start to almost go, why do we have to do it this way? You know, Eli, what's going on here? It sounds like that's going to be book 2, but in my head, I'm like, this would automatically go, why are we doing this? Like, why can't we all just chill back and relax and take advantage of the technology we brought along with us? So,
100% agree. And that is an inject, because you're right. We have this sophisticated technology right here. I mean, we can salvage this and help build our infrastructure. You know, why we look for shelter and we have this giant thing here. And so, yeah, that is a significant inject. So I'll probably stay away from talking about it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
It's okay. You can go back and take notes.
way.
Yeah, right. And one other, the biology just to me is now like, what's the building materials there? Because I was talking about building barns, and I think wood, but wood is very earth-bound, and you're not going to get mature wood in year one.
Clay.
So I don't know what the...
I think figuring out the environment and figuring out what's the best.
If you have water, you can make some kind of mud or clay. So,
Well, I think
So
we could.
you're building stone structures? Okay.
yeah, I mean, that would make sense to me. I don't
I'm
know.
just asking. Yeah, no. Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
not
know. I
on
think-
a planet that I don't know.
I think we could really go down some.
I was just, I mean, yeah, it's just kind of there, right? Yeah, that's not what we're doing here. No.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah.
I think what I wrote in there was that the planet is essentially Earth
Okay.
during Jurassic period. So
Okay,
we're going to
interesting.
have most of the things we
Yeah.
have today.
resources. Okay.
Yeah, just the planet's healthier. Yeah, there's no people.
No industrial
So-
revolution yet has happened, right? That's
Not yet.
Yeah,
That's
not
right.
yet.
not yet.
Coming in, and I'm gonna make a nuclear plant.
It's kind of like a clean slate in a way.
Yeah.
And then
Interesting. Yeah.
how long does it take us to mess
Yeah.
it
What's
up?
the
10
how many
years max.
decades? Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well, I think we're up. Roland, you have something to add?
Oh no, that's exactly right. It's a clean slate. So what do we do? And really the novel's kind of what happens all before that. The process, and then these world governments chasing after him. And so if we just say today, and we all know about this is Ark, it's like, okay, well, hey, here's the head of NASA. This is what this person thinks you should take. How do we get this item or this list to this mysterious shepherd? Well, no one knows who he is. So
Right.
is he missing out on good information? And then could that person manipulate it? Is he going to be hunted?
Right.
All these things occur.
Yeah. How good is he at making a list? See?
Yeah.
It's important.
exactly.
list maker.
So, what would be your top 2 things that you would bring with you, like personally, on this arc?
Oh, so I would say,
Like everything else is set, like the major things, because someone else's.
But this is just your
Personal.
I would say probably like photograph my family, assuming that if they're not there,
Well,
definitely a photograph.
I was gonna say, wait,
Yeah.
do you want to remember them at that point? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would probably be like my number one thing would be just a photograph.
Yeah.
And if we have all the other basic necessities covered, such as food, shelter, water, or some type of, axe or
Entertainment
saw.
item, let's say a record or book that you would just
Oh.
want to consume over and over again on this voyage or while you're starting. Maybe make it a
Yeah.
little easier instead of like every item in the world.
that is a
Well, I
lot.
would say 100%. It would be a CD player with My Chemical Romance, 3 Cheers for Revenge on repeat. That would be
damn.
the thing. Yeah. So it's my favorite album of all time. So
Wow.
that's what I'll have.
Nice.
Nick, what do you got? What do you got? What are you playing?
oh,
What's
so
on your playlist?
playlist? Man,
Just anything.
I
Or
feel
what,
like
what
it really-
video game would
well,
you take?
I think I would just take my Steam Deck, which has a bunch of games already on
no,
it.
you gotta pick one.
Whoa,
Yeah.
it's a single item.
No, I think. How do you connect this Steam Deck?
Come on.
What do you mean?
What are you connecting it to? Isn't a game in the cloud?
I mean, no, it's actually on the system.
Oh, it's on the system. Okay, so you're bringing the system
yeah.
with the games on it.
I think
Yeah.
that.
Okay. And
That's
how are you
kind of
playing
it.
it? You're going to plug it into...
I mean, if we have a nuclear plant that just has a plug, just
You need a TV or something, right?
no, it's right there,
He's-
dude.
Oh, okay.
He's
It's
using
handheld. Okay.
hand,
Yeah.
A
No.
handheld gaming system.
Yeah,
He's
it's a
using
handheld computer.
hand
All right.
wavium to play.
Hand wave.
His hand
Whoa, there's
held.
nothing hand wavium about it. And then
Okay.
it has pictures of
Okay.
my family on there.
Okay, tell us one book or one record.
One book or one record.
I know, you're kind of cheating all the thing. I'm going to take my Apple
Hey,
Cloud.
I'm
with me.
sorry. I'm just
I'm picking everything.
listen. It's a one item thing, but
He's breaking the rules, right? I mean, that's rule breaking, yeah.
It's,
It's an art.
It's challenging.
It is.
it's efficient.
Yeah.
But one record I would bring would probably be Childish Gambino's "Awaken My Love." Yeah.
Okay. Nice choice.
Yeah.
Nice choice.
What about you,
I
Georgia?
know. See, now that you,
Yeah, I got harassed.
I don't know if I can come up with one.
You got one.
I know it's so hard. I don't know. Well, I would bring Harold and Maude, and that also is the album. The album is awesome too, so that kind of fits both, But
Yeah. Wow. I got a movie there. Music wise, I have to go with something. Well, Portishead, one of their albums. I'll pick one. I'll narrow down when I got to. But yeah, either it's going to be their Portishead or it's going to be Dummy. One of those two, I think I would take. Movie wise, man, that's hard because there's a bunch of movies I watch over and over again. So, from Uncle Buck to
you would
The
bring.
Thing. Or,
Endgame. Endgame would be my one.
I might bring The Thing.
Game's good.
I might do The Thing.
And
I
for-
could see you bringing the
The
thing.
Thing might be it.
And
Like
Joe-
it feels like the movie you need in isolation just to watch that and the paranoia and have everyone watch it and be like, let's not do
Or
this.
maybe you wouldn't.
No, you would want
Maybe you wouldn't be in
Endgame for
the
it to be
mood
like,
of that.
we're all in this together to fight this,
And
Yeah, I
it's,
don't know.
and then it sucks.
and then Avengers
But-
Assemble.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Man, that
I
works.
think
Yeah.
I think for book for you, Joe, is the
Oh, the Stand, of course. Yeah, I read The
read
Stand
it-
every year.
You
The
read
Stand.
it every single
Yes,
year
you're absolutely
anyway.
right. Yes,
yes.
The Stand would come along with me.
But
I love
usually do the
stand.
audio.
I do listen to audiobook.
So.
Yeah. It's really well read.
Oh man, if
So,
you would bring something that
yeah.
can play audiobooks.
Well, I can
Maybe
just
you
put
could
it on.
be-
I can download it on your device.
Yeah, you think he'll let you borrow his
Have
device?
you insulted it?
Bring your own device.
I know. I'm gonna bring my laptop filled with music and everything. I'll rip a bunch of get Napster downloaded, and
Oh, I was
I
going
don't know if people are old enough for Napster, but yeah.
What is Napster? I'm sorry, Joe.
Shut up, man.
Were you saying you were sailing the seven seas?
But recently, a friend of mine was talking about this to another friend and was giving a list of like, these are the movies that if you watch these movies, or maybe it was novels or both, if you read or watch this set of movies
Yeah.
or these set of
It was like
books,
five books.
I can't remember the number, you'll really understand me. I really
books.
like that. I
Five
like
books
that.
and movies. I think it was
And then-
combined media. Like,
And I was trying to think,
Yeah.
okay, what would mine be? And I'm actually still not sure, but
We'll have to answer that on another.
Maybe in
yeah.
a mini episode. We'll
think
come
some
back to
more
that.
about that.
But also, I think that if you did it over time, that would change.
It would
Right?
totally
Because
change.
5 things in your 20s would probably definitely be different in 30s, 40s, 50s.
And
So
just memory wise,
Yeah.
I have certain books that I remember loving. Like this is like one of my favorite books of all times. But now, can I even tell you what that book is about? You know, so that's horrible. Yeah. So
all right. Well, we better start wrapping this whole thing up.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
You want to give a plug?
Thank you,
Talk
guys.
about your book. You got any new writings or anything people should look at? We'll put your website and where to find a book and everything in a newsletter. But if you want to,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of knee deep into book 2, and that one's doing a lot of consulting, talking to people,
Yeah.
experts in different areas. But man, it was just such a fun write to do the first one, and it's, I would say, the heart of Salvation Protocol. I think it's about who we become when everything is on the line, and so if that type of question interests you, I think you guys would love diving into it and just seeing how we actually do things. And then, humanity, how we figure that out. So it's such a good ride. I loved writing it, and I'm just super happy to be here and to share it with you guys and share with the world. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, can't wait to dig in more.
If you need any other consultants, let us know.
Where we are here.
We're available.
One of us
Yeah.
is really a scientist, but and a librarian, and
Chaos.
chaos and
I think I will. Sure.
expert
Especially
in
as we,
chaos.
Yeah, try to keep it more realistic. Less hand wavium.
less hand waving. Yeah. We gotta go. Hey, we love hand waving here.
All about
Handless. So, all right, is that it? Any last words?
No, I think we
What do
went
you got?
down.
Me, Joe.
Oh,
We got Georgia. We got Nick. Stay curious. Love it.
Bye.